It's another day, the sun is shining. Got to know what's going on around you. Wake up, it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas at sunrise. Hey.
Good morning. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise, TGIF. I am Philip Simon.
And I'm Cyan Thompson, filling in for Anastasia Palacios.
All right, listen, we've got a new, old talent here on Bahamas at Sunrise. It's been a long time, Cyan. Welcome back to the Bahamas.
Thank you.
You're brand new, you're fresh, you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm
just
back.
this week, right?
Literally this week. Literally, like days. Yeah.
in
Couple
time for
days ago.
independence.
In time for independence,
So
yes.
what have you been up to? What have you been up to?
Well, I have been out of the country for about 5 years.
Okay.
And so now I'm back home.
Now you're back home.
Now I'm back
Doing
home.
your thing.
Yes,
Doing
doing
your
my
thing.
thing, yes.
we were talking before the camera started rolling and she was saying how hot it was. Luckily this
Yes,
morning Bahamas
the
at Sunrise.
electricity went out three
Okay.
times.
I thought you were talking about
Three
climate
times.
change.
3 times.
So it's not climate change. You're
No,
talking-
it wasn't climate change. It was a different type of thing going on.
Welcome back. Welcome home. Well, listen,
Yes.
well, we're going to be talking a little bit about climate change today. We're also going to be
Definitely.
talking about post-independence. Of course, you can see I am still celebrating all things Bahamian. I'm a proud Bahamian. Despite what anybody else might say out there, I
Yes, you
am
are.
so happy to be here in the Bahamas and a proud Bahamian.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. Actually, you're one of the proudest Bahamians I know. You're very patriotic.
Absolutely.
That's what I remember about
Absolutely.
you being
My
very
son asks me all the time. He's like, I don't know where. Like every week he would say, "Daddy, if you could live anywhere else, where would it be?" And I said, and I go through all the different islands with him.
Like which island?
So he's like, no, it's
Exuma,
like another country. It's
Eleuthera.
like-
It
I
has
said-
to be.
So
no,
then I finally
okay.
said, okay, well, you know what? I'd probably live to Miami.
Okay.
Because it's right next door to the Bahamas.
So you could jump on the
you're right.
plane and come back
be here.
home.
Absolutely.
I
Proud
know.
to be
I
here.
know.
Proud
It's
to be
no
here.
place like home though, because
Yeah.
one of the things that I really missed is the warmth and love of the people. When I
See?
came back, there is no place like the Bahamas.
No place,
There's
right?
no people like the Bahamas. We have the best people in the world, and I've traveled to different places, to China, Russia, different places, but no place like
You
the
gain a
Bahamas.
perspective, right? I mean,
Exactly.
and-
You
and-
gain a perspective,
correct,
and you
correct,
realize, you know what?
correct.
We have a good country.
We have a great country,
We have
man.
a
Listen,
great
guys,
country.
we
The
have a
people are the
great
greatest
country.
asset that we have.
Yeah, let's change the narrative,
Definitely.
man. Let's
Yeah.
talk about things, more positive things, right, Godfrey? More
Of
positive things.
course,
There's
of
a lot of
course.
great stuff that's happening
And it's
here
the
in our
people.
country.
It's the
And
people
it's
who
the
make this
people.
country.
Absolutely. So
Definitely.
we're talking about a culture of savings today as well. Boy, that's a big one. Saving that paycheck, and I've mentioned
Yes.
earlier trying
Oh
to
my
mitigate
goodness, especially with that.
climate change. And we also have Bahamian recording artist Aisha McPhee. I hope I said that name right.
Yes, I think it's Ilsha McPhee.
Ilsha
Yes,
McPhee. All right,
yes.
she's going to be
She has a
performing for us
wonderful
this
thing.
morning. Yeah.
Yes, she will. And so also we have the Bahamas Historical Society
Andrea.
that we are going to be speaking with today. And later on, we're going to talk to you about a recognition ceremony that was held at the Central Bank of the Bahamas. And we've also got a check of the Alive weekend calendar. But first, we want to check on the weather now with Godfrey.
Main man. Main man.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Zayan, and welcome back. In your first look at the weather, that upper level trough still over the northwest Bahamas, triggering some thunderstorm activity, particularly to the west of Bimini. We still have some activity going on in the Exuma Keys and Exuma at this time with some showers and thunderstorm moving towards the northwest. One or two may hit New Providence sometime later this morning, but high pressure becoming the dominant of the feature, so a good looking weekend in store weather-wise. Today, we're looking at partly sunny, hot and humid, and yes, we have a chance of a few showers, isolated thunderstorms, your high temperature 91 degrees Fahrenheit, heat index 104. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a few nighttime showers or possible thunderstorm. Your low temperature going down to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows across the Caribbean, Barbados 81 and 78, in Jamaica 85 and 73, Trinidad 83 and 76, and the Turks and Caicos Islands 89 and 78. Across North America, Atlanta 86 and 74, in Raleigh 89 and 74, in Miami 87 and 79, Dallas, Texas 93 and 74, and Toronto, Canada 73 and 63. Weekend outlook, pretty good weekend still weather-wise. Looking at partly sunny skies, still hot, still humid, a little breezy over the central and southeastern islands, though temperature daytime will be in the lower 90s, at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up on your first look at the weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Of course, we are still in independence mode 46 years later. We're still growing and developing as a country. This morning, we're going to be talking a little bit about the culture of savings. How do we move from living from paycheck to paycheck? I know quite a few of us suffer from that. I want to call it a disease, but this morning we have Chanel Stubbs. She's Vice President of the CFA Society of the Bahamas, no stranger to Bahamas at Sunrise, and she's also the Director of Compliance for Scotia Bank. Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Happy Independence.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. You know, we could never get enough, talk enough, I should say, about savings and how important it is. Listen, most of us, still, as Bahamians, are still living from paycheck to paycheck.
And sadly, that is true. Most of us spend more than we earn on a daily basis, and that's reflected in the amount of debt that we have. We just see our income and figure that's not enough, and so we spend more, and so we actually live in paycheck to paycheck.
Is that a culture? I mean, is that something that we've just developed, over time?
And I think it is right now. I think we have some things that we have to look at as a people. We are a little bit materialistic. I think a lot of us feel like we have to have what our neighbors have.
Yeah.
And so that thinking, that mindset has kind of driven this whole, I will get whatever I need to get because I need to be like you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's kind of been developing us over in recent years. I don't think historically our forefathers may have been a little better.
Yeah.
I think they were more community oriented. I think we're more me, myself, and so this materialism
and probably the
attitude
media
has
has played a role in that, and the exposure, all the rest of that. So we had we had the Butler family on the show earlier in the week, talking about legacy families and, historical, well-known Bahamian families. And I always remember Franklin Butler. He always used to say when I was at the Chamber of Commerce and he came to present, he said, we just need to develop an attitude of being able to deny ourselves.
Yes.
And that's sometimes a difficult thing to do, which requires a lot of discipline. But what percentage of our income really should we be targeting as a savings point?
Actually, 20% is a well-known number. That person say, if you look back, if you Google it, if you go financial analysts all over the world, persons who's been in this business for a while say 20%. It's actually a biblical principle.
Okay.
How do you say 20%? This is a story in the Bible where in the 5 years of famine, 7 years of famine and 7 years of feast, when you're doing well, you put aside 1/5. Not 20%.
Okay.
And so that gets you when you're having a
okay.
difficult time and when things are going well, you
Right.
save, and when things go downhill or not going so well, you have that 1/5 that you put aside
Wow.
to be able to
Okay.
sustain yourself.
So 1/5 aside and 10% to the Lord.
20% Lord, 20%.
So you got 70% left, right?
Yes.
So how do we do this, though? I mean, how do we do this?
Actually, I think one of the things that we need to understand is we need to plan.
Okay.
And that's budgeting. I mean, we
Okay.
don't like the budgeting word, but all it is a plan. I will decide this month how I'm going to spend my money. I'm making $20,000 a year, and what am I going to do with that each month? And so we make some decisions about how we spend. And a part of that has to do with what we can afford. When we look at our money, if it means that I cannot have all the name brands and I may have to buy something less, I may have to wait. I have a principle, kind of wait
Okay.
and weigh and then decide.
Boy, that's a lot.
Now, this waiting is a
that
problem for us.
sounds like a long time.
Time.
Yes.
And in the internet age, people
Right.
have a difficulty waiting. I think that has hurt us, especially millennials. In the internet age, instant gratification.
Right.
You have everything at your fingertips. So
There's
this notion
pressure,
of
man.
waiting.
There's pressure to get
yes,
stuff. I mean, there's
it's
pressure to get
difficult.
things.
And so I understand. I feel that plight actually because it's difficult to kind of deny yourself and say, let me just decide that I will do this later.
Right.
That delayed gratification is something that we have to work
have to
hard
do.
at, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in practical terms, when you start out trying to set a budget, what's the order of priority?
Okay, actually you said it, so you know what you're making.
Okay.
And that don't change a lot. Our salaries basically stay the same.
Don't say it like that, man.
We're kind of stuck with our salaries, so we don't get to change that because
Right.
we want to. Our employers say, okay, this is what you're making.
Right.
So basically you have to live with that. And then so we get to decide how we spend it.
Okay.
So that's the autonomy we have to say, okay, this is my income. I can't decide what my income is, but I can decide how I'm going to spend it.
Okay.
So I make decisions around what I think I can afford and what's best at the time.
So when we talk about the benefit of starting to save when you're really young, and then getting the most from well, compound interest. I mean, you're in the bank. I mean, the interest rates are
interest
really,
rates are low, right? So
Are really
that's
low,
almost
right? So I mean,
funny,
so we
but
talk
yes.
about savings, but you have the compound interest. It's really just best to start young. I
Young.
mean, so the allocation. So you're a young professional. You're starting into the workforce. What do you do?
So that notion of starting young is actually a really critical point because I think Warren Buffett, and someone reminded me earlier that he started at 13. His only regret is he wished he started earlier.
Yeah.
So you understand that the earlier you start, the better off you are because this whole notion of compound interest is year over year it grows. So whatever the interest is, like we joking around, it's really not much in our context now, but you leave it and you let it build, and so it compounds year over year. And that compounding effect actually does well, and the longer you have that ability to because
so.
you start earlier, you have more years of working and more years of saving, you can amass some wealth.
Yeah.
And you maybe could be a millionaire.
Well, that's true too. We heard the stories of Sir John Templeton back in the day and how he used to save,
25 cents out of every dollar.
Out of every dollar. I mean,
So his 25% is his principal.
is his principle.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But as a nation, and also you're in the banking sector as well, we have an issue. I mean, we've got a national debt problem, I would say.
We have over 800 million bad debt currently. Statistics from our central bank. As much as almost $1 billion in bad debt. So we are a nation of debt. We are able to get debt, and so we like that, and so that kind of impedes our progress to save because debt is expensive.
Debt is expensive.
So it's cost you when you're borrowing. So if you can kind of wait and say, let me just save for this new car or save for this new vacation, then you get to a better place.
So it really is about planning.
It's
But
about
are there any
planning.
additional resources that people can learn from or use to kind of, personal finance to improve their position?
I think what we should do as a nation actually is help our kids.
Okay.
Teach kids about money. We talk about J
All the
starting way
time.
back.
All the time, absolutely.
Starting in
So
primary
critical.
school,
Yeah.
teaching kids about basic money principles.
Yeah.
At one of my last job at City, we had teaching kids to save, went into one of the high schools and kind of say, here are some basic principles. You get a salary and you make a plan and you decide what you're going to do with it every month.
Yeah.
And good decisions equals this, bad decisions equals this.
That,
And so teaching kids, and there's a lot of initiatives going on. The CFA Society has one, the Central Bank has one now, Money Smart.
Yeah.
There's information
Exactly.
out there.
Yeah.
You can learn. You don't have to not do well with money.
Absolutely.
That's where you started. It doesn't have to be where you end.
Okay.
And so I think one of the fallacies we have is that I don't make enough.
Right.
I can't do this.
Right.
How do you expect me to save for 200? You could save for whatever.
And you can't have everything.
And you can't have
everything.
everything. That
All right.
principle of sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Delayed
Ooh.
gratification.
Big words here this morning, right?
Delayed
Big words here.
gratification.
Delayed gratification. Let's now. Thank you so much for coming back and being here on Bahamas at Sunrise. She's the Vice President of the CFA Society of the Bahamas and Director of Compliance for Scotiabank.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
All right. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
COB prepared me to be a leader by teaching me to work hard for what I want. I'm the first chief internal auditor at the University of the Bahamas. To me, that's an honor to be able to do that. I feel like I'm giving back to a university that gave me a start in my life. I'm Errol Thompson, and this is my UB.
Apply today at www.ub.edu.bs.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want first response on your side, call 32 First or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Welcome back. More than 80% of the land surface of the islands of the Bahamas is a meter or less above average sea level. We can see how this can make us vulnerable to the effects of climate change. And how do we mitigate this as a nation? Here to talk with us about climate change, we have Collis Palacios, who is Director of Operations at Caribbean Coastal Services, and we also have environmental scientist with us, Kelly Armstrong. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us. So what are some of the problems that the country is experiencing because of climate change?
Yeah, so Cyan, we know that we've seen the intensity of hurricanes substantially increase in recent years. And a part of that is connected to climate change. There's a natural component to climate change, so the world resets itself. We have ice ages that come about. And of course, the human components. We know that we burn fossil fuels. We have other practices that aren't necessarily the most sustainable. And as a result, it has impacts on our environment. Over the years, we've developed areas that probably should have been protected, and Mother Nature put it there to protect us, whether it's mangrove and wetland systems or coral reefs. And so over time, as different impacts have come together, it's meant that there are some things that we have to do in response to that, and we call that adaptation.
And based on your knowledge and information, what would you say has been like the damage to coral reef and marine life?
Yeah, so let's say, for example, coral bleaching is a common term that we hear. And what that is connected to is actually a loss of some of the living organisms that sit on what are known as our coral reefs. There are different reasons for that. A large part of it is due to the changes in the temperature of our oceans. And so if we think, to just explain briefly what climate change is if we think of there's a blanket over the earth, and that blanket has some gases in it. As we release more of those gases, we make the blanket thicker. So just like if you were in your bed and it started to get warmer, the earth starts to warm up. As a result, the ice caps melt, and it changes some of the climatic conditions in the country.
So how do we start preparing? How do we prepare ourselves as a nation for this phenomenon?
Well, it's a cultural shift, and there are some things we can do, and there are some things that are out of our control. But the things that we can do is start to really establish the understanding of preservation, the understanding of needing to protect ourselves in terms of our homes. So learn to do basic assessments to make sure we have hurricane clips in our houses. We're not all going to be contractors or engineers, but there's basic checks that we can do. We can take the preparation seriously. When they tell us to, if you're in a low-lying area that you need to evacuate, do it. Because there are certain cultural aspects that are important. From a scientific standpoint, we definitely need to do something called vulnerability assessments. And what that means is establishing an inventory of all our critical infrastructure. So roads, seawalls, etc. Understanding when were they built, how long can they stand, are they at the right elevation? Because things we know were built 20 or 30 years ago when the conditions were a lot different. And so as we start to understand the data and make data-driven decisions, then we can determine what areas we need to improve and what areas we need to establish new policies regarding.
And to go on to my next question, what do we need to do at a policy level? What things need to be set in place for this to happen?
Sure. So at a policy level, there are various approaches we can take. Let's say at the upper level, we definitely need to do risk assessment profiles for our country. So understand, for example, if you live in parts of the southern New Providence, you're very low-lying, and we can produce maps that allow us to understand under these conditions, let's say under a category 1 that approaches from the south, then this entire area, we already know from a week out, will have to be evacuated, for example. There are also other standards that we can set for minimum building elevations. So as you can imagine, if a storm surge is coming and your house is built below the elevation of the waves or the water, then you're going to flood. And that might be different if you live on top of East Street, let's say, which is high, versus if you live down low. So those are some higher level policies. And then we can continue some of the conservation we've done. Try to cut out single-use plastics, which is what we're doing, that end up in our oceans. Try to establish sustainable fishing, sustainable habitat policies, so that we're not removing mangroves that are important to protect our shorelines.
And how should environment and climate research inform development?
So that's a good question. One of the ways that we could help inform development is through improving our forecast technologies. Currently, one of the issues that we have is that the scales in which we have available to forecast weather and climate are too large a scale for our small islands. So if we can put some efforts towards contributing towards, getting those models to be downscale so that they're more accurate for our small island and community level responses, it would be very helpful. And of course, education is also the key.
Of course.
In terms of making sure we have funds available to have young Bahamians go away to school to study, STEM careers, and make sure they understand the importance of helping to contribute to, developing better communication systems so that we're not just, informing people, but engaging them in, preparing or creating a culture of preparedness as well. Preparedness is also key.
And can you tell us what are some good examples of local developments as it relates to this?
I made the joke yesterday when we were discussing it that it's basically anything that our coastal engineers told people to do.
Well, and do you also go into schools and in terms of education?
Absolutely, absolutely. We actually have outreach program coming up where we're going to be engaging the students at Beta Camp. Some folks from our companies are going to be having some talks with them, for sure.
That's wonderful, because I think it's definitely necessary to get at a foundational level when it comes to education as it relates to climate change.
And we also do a lot of internships. We take on over a dozen interns every year in various lengths, and some are in high school, some are in college, because we're trying to educate ourselves and also establish a new generation who think of the environment differently. For a long time, we kind of thought of it as our own expendable resource, and it really isn't, and Mother Nature's letting us know.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for joining us at Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back after this break.
Shell Unleaded improves your fuel economy, giving increased miles per gallon, allowing you to do more of what you really want. Special additives used in Shell Unleaded improve your engine's efficiency. So go further with Shell Unleaded. Venture out to beaches, Junkanoo, and festivals, and bring home memories that will last a lifetime. Shell, fueling journeys that matter.
One thing, two things, blue thing, all things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Wow, where'd you get that necklace from? It's Fashion Hall. Cute dress, lady.
Thank you. It's Fashion Hall.
Career, church, or casual, visit Fashion Hall. Top of the Hill Mackey Street, Mall Marathon, and Southwest Plaza. Enjoy Sunday shopping at our Southwest Plaza location from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, this is the week of independence, and we're talking all things Bahamian. We've got a wonderful Bahamian young woman in the studio once again, Andrea Major, president of the Bahamas Historical Society. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. So you guys, Bahamas Historical Society, is back to doing its monthly lecture series.
Yes.
All right.
Well, actually, we didn't have one in June,
Okay.
so we're making up for it in the summer when we don't have one.
You don't have
coming up on Monday, actually the 15th of July, at 6:15 p.m. at the headquarters of Bahamas Historical Society, corner of Shirley Street and Elizabeth Avenue. We're having a lecture, and of course the public is invited, and it's being done by Mr. Stephen Moss, who is a yes, he's a lecturer.
Sound like family. Yeah.
Okay, so he's a professor at Georgia State University.
Okay.
And he has developed a virtual tour of the Saltwater Underground Railroad.
The Saltwater Underground Railroad
And that
experience.
This is sound. Now, you know, the Underground Railroad experience has nothing to do with trains or underground or tunnels.
Okay.
But that was a movement of moving enslaved people from slavery to freedom over many different states and, of course, many different routes. And of course, many people were involved in that in the United States. I've been on some of those routes myself. Very interesting. The churches, they had symbols to know that, okay, this is a church where you can hide. This is a farm where you can lodge. This is a place that you can go through. And so that was on land. Of course, Harriet Tubman and many other people like her. But the Saltwater Underground Railroad, of course, is the seawater. So even though it has nothing to do with the railroad and underground, we're talking about people who ran away by sea. Just think of the Seminole Indians who came to Andros. Saltwater.
I mean, it's a lot of interesting history that we just don't know about, and I mean, we're so happy that you continue to do this work and spared, you know, this educational experience.
Right.
But this is obviously a lecture for everybody, not just
this is for everyone. It's free to the public.
Okay.
No, not just for historians. It's informational. We need to know what happened in our country. We need to know what's still happening in the world today.
That's very true.
I'm sure the seas are still being used as an underground railroad for many, many nations today who come to the Bahamas. And of course, in August, we're having another one. We don't normally have these, as I say, in July and August. So in August the 1st, we're going to have Mr. Eric Weberg. And he's a regular writer for our journals, well-researched, great presenter. And he's going to be in the Bahamas. So, again, will you speak?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a normal time, but we asked him, and he said yes. He's going to talk about the mail boats in the Bahamas, and he's going to go through 200 years of history of the mail boats.
200 years of history of the mail.
That's what he said. 200 years of the mail boat system in the Bahamas.
Wow.
So that's going to be on August the 1st, 6:15, the Bahamas Historical Society again. The public is invited. And we have to send out kudos to CIBC Caribbean Bank. They allowed us to park there during those lectures. So you go in, you enter the parking lot on Shirley Street, and you can park there while we're having the lecture.
What time does it start?
It starts at 6:15
so
p.m.
6:15, okay,
yes,
6:15
so it gives you time to get off from work and park.
Okay. How long is the lecture?
About an hour.
About an hour.
And it depends too on your questions.
On your questions,
and if it's really going, I don't stop it.
Yeah. And listen, both of those topics are really interesting. I mean, when you
Very
talk about mail
interesting.
boats, such a critical part of the development of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, and still to this day, you know, it's very important. I mean, especially for our family violence, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Really.
Definitely. So this year also marks the 60th anniversary of the Bahamas Historical Society. We've been talking about it from last year.
Okay, and we know we're going to be 60. Of course, in October is the actual date. But of course, 60 is October 2019 to October 2020. So we're going to have really great emphasis throughout the whole year. We're looking at having the actual gala in February because there's not so much activity as like in October. But we're going to be reaching out to many people for prizes, for sponsorship, for advertisements in our regular journals as well as the program. So we're going to have a wonderful time. And every month we're hoping to do some special emphasis for the Bahamian people.
Okay, good.
Yes.
And of course, if they want more information now, they can just contact you, right? I mean,
yes, we're going to be closed for the summer during the end of July and August.
Okay.
Unfortunately, our website is down, so please, you can email mugs, M-U-G-S, the number 2, M-A-J, at yahoo.com. That's Andrea Major.
Okay.
Or you can send it to jim.lawlor,
okay.
1939 at gmail.com, and he's our first vice president, Jim Lawler. So again, the website is down, and our normal email, info at bahamashistoricalsociety.com, that's down. So just use the mugs to
Are you on Facebook?
We're on Facebook as well.
Right,
that's
great.
/242 Bahamas His Society.
Trust me, we'll find it.
Yeah,
we'll find
it's there.
So, of course, this week was Independence Week. Was there
Yes.
anything special happening down at the Historical Society?
Well, we always have an exhibit to independence on the Bahamas Historical Society, and of course, that's always relevant because it was a milestone in our history. And so whenever Bahamians come or international people come, we have quite a few photographs.
Yeah.
We tell them the story. They can read it, as well as we have the civil rights struggle in the museum. But definitely...
And I know you like to always say, we were birthed in 1973, but we did not begin.
Yes. Yes. So we look forward to having people come out on the 15th to that Saltwater Underground Railroad virtual tour, and also on the 1st of August. Please come on out and enjoy these free talks during the summer.
Great.
These are outreaches of the Bahamas Historical Society, and it's giving back to the community.
Good. Excellent. All right. We've been with Andre Major, President of the Bahamas Historical Society. 15th, that's Monday at 6.
That's Monday at 6:15 p.m. Yes.
There you go. All right. Watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
New Providence Life Insurance Company wants to be your lifetime insurance partner. Through good times and bad, we are here to light the way. We offer educational savings plans, family plans for medical, dental, and vision, income protection to pay bills if you can't work, and a full set of plans designed for senior adults. New Providence Life, your beacon of security through every season.
Wait, that's Omar Little from The Wire. You think everyone is Omar from The Wire?
Wow, it's really nice to meet a fan.
It's like he's right here. Are you telling me he was being all type shows and stuff?
And you know, Rev Go Play plays a lot of good movies and TV shows.
Excuse me, can't you see we're watching something else? Rude.
Settle all your pop culture disputes with Rev Go Play. Watch, record, and stream all your favorite shows wherever you are. Free for all Rev TV subscribers. Rev, you and us together.
So who really own the Nassau Container Port?
Boss, that's easy. The government.
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
I do. And one day, he will too.
I do. Knock knock.
Here at the Nassau Container Port, we've diversified our ownership to give hardworking Bahamians a piece of the economic pie. And we'll continue to grow so that we can give you a consistent return on your investment. That's our promise.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're in the TGIF edition.
Yes.
And we've got lovely Cyan Thompson with us. How's it going so far?
It's going great.
Yeah?
It's going wonderful.
It's all coming back to you.
It's all coming back. It's like just whoosh in my head.
I didn't get a chance to watch your segment, but what was, who are you with?
Actually, we were dealing with climate change in our last segment. And talking about that and dealing with that, I know in England now, everybody, once you go to the food store, I take my bags with me, just regular bags, and they get rid of plastic completely. at least the majority of the food stores.
We're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, we still have it, but we're getting there. I mean, we should actually be leading
I
the
hope so,
world
because
in this
the
regard,
next
right?
10 years, I still want to be eating fish.
And conk, right? Jeez, I mean,
yeah, other people could. Yes, definitely.
something
So
else.
hopefully we do what we need to do to protect our environment.
Okay, excellent.
Definitely.
Listen, the president of the councilors, Joan Albury, would like to say congratulations to Honeys. I get the feeling this must be the only one. Demi Forbes on the passing of the Bar of England. And Wales. And Demi will be called by Lincoln's Inn on July 25th, so she's going to be jetting off. I guess the family's going to be celebrating that with her next week. So congratulations, Demi.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so obviously very proud. Very proud auntie.
Yes,
very proud auntie. Yeah, but we've got more. We've got more.
Yes, we
Bombs
do.
at Sunrise.
We do. We have more great stuff for you coming up in the second half. And we have Ilsha McPhee, who's going to be performing for us Ain't Sorry.
Yeah, she ain't sorry.
And the weekend calendar that's going to be coming up next as well.
Yeah, that's right. And the Central Bank we celebrated 46 years as a country. The Central Bank celebrated their 45th anniversary last week, and we'll be taking a look at a particular segment on that. But again, a second look with weather at sunrise with Mr. Godfrey Burnside. You know, we're going to have to bring Godfrey on this side of the segment to talk about this climate change and all the rest of that stuff, because we got the man, right?
Yes, that's true. He would know.
He would definitely know.
Godfrey, you would know, right?
Yeah, there you go.
He would know.
The G-Man. Weather at sunrise. Second look.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance, today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Phil, and good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather, sunrise, the tropics, and we do have Tropical Storm Barry. And at 5 a.m. this morning, Barry was located near latitude 28.1 degrees north and longitude 90.2 degrees west, some 95 miles southwest of the mouth of the Mississippi River. It's moving towards the west at 5 miles per hour. Winds are now up to 50 miles per hour, and some additional strength is expected over the next 24 hours as it moves inland. Could become a hurricane category 1 by tomorrow. Then we're also watching an area of disorganized showers and thunderstorm, a tropical wave, some 700 miles to the southwest of the Cape Verde Islands. It's been a little bit organized over the last several hours, and the system has a 20% chance of development over the next 5 days. Elsewhere, tropical storm formation expected during the next 5 days. On the local scene, that upper level trough to the north of us is triggering off some showers and thunderstorms, particularly to the west of Grand Bahama and over the Exuma Keys Islands, moving towards the northwest. High pressure will build across the islands, so we're looking at a better weekend in store weather-wise. In your marine forecast, winds today and through the weekend, east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, sea 2 to 4 feet in northwest Bahamas, east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 10:02 this morning. Next high tide at 4:31 this afternoon. Low gain tonight at 10:59. Sunset will be a minute past 8 this evening. Rises tomorrow at 6:29. UV index 9. Your water temperature 82 degrees Fahrenheit. And the moon phase for its quarter. As we go into the weekend, partly sunny skies, still hot, still humid, and there's a chance of a shower thunderstorm by afternoon. Though temperature daytime will be in the lower 90, feel like about 104 at nighttime in the upper 70s. That puts you up in your fun look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Zion.
Welcome back. 22-year-old law student and two-time Junkanoo Carnival Music Masters competitor Ilsha McPhee is here to perform her song, Ain't Sorry. Good morning, Ilsha. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Yes.
Tell us about your competing at the Junkanoo Carnival Music Festival.
Well, I did it twice. So I started with the group called Jive, and we made it to the top 10 finalists with 2 songs, and then I did it again, making it to the top 10 finals. By myself, yeah.
So can you tell me what makes you so passionate about Bahamian music?
Well, I grew up in the car listening to Island FM every morning.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I started my love for Junkanoo music right then. And then I said, my peers are not doing it. So I'm like, I want to make this famous. I want to keep this going. I want to keep my culture alive. So I just started.
So talk about how do you balance studying law and doing the music, doing
Well, you
what
know,
you
the
love?
law is a jealous mistress. Yes. It is, but you have to be focused. So music is a lot, law is a lot. So I literally have no time else for much else, but I love the two. So you heard it here first. I'm going to be the singing lawyer, okay?
Good. So can you tell us a bit about this song?
This song is basically about me being unapologetic about who I am. I'm a Bahamian. If I shake, if I talk bad, that's just who I am. And as we celebrate, our 46th year of independence, I think the song is so timely because they think we forget who we are. But I think us as Bahamians know distinctly, innately who we are from the inside. You know what I mean?
Well, let's take it away. Ain't sorry, Ilsha Maxey. Go ahead.
Nobody gotta tell me who I am. Born, bred, dead, Bahamian. Nobody gotta tell me how to talk. If you can't understand me, that's your law. And if I skull like this, I ain't sorry. If I squawk like that, I ain't sorry. If I move my hips, I ain't sorry. I ain't sorry. Who
Thank you so much, Ilse. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Now we go to our weekend alive calendar.
Good morning, Sunrisers. This is your boy Sovereign with your live weekend calendar. St. George Anglican Church hosts Thrill of the Grill and Paris Fair. Saturday, July 13th, Church Grounds, Montrose Avenue, 12 noon to 7 p.m. Bud Light Dive Bar Sessions, featuring Lil Boozy and Young Blue, live in concert. Saturday, July 13th, National Stadium Grounds, 9 p.m. until. Pisces Swim Fashion Show, hosted by Demetrius. Performing live, Judah the Lion and Wendy. Sunday, July 14th, Malia Resort, Cable Beach, doors open at 6 p.m. Fashion show, 7 p.m. 24th Annual Peace on the Street Basketball Clinic. Monday, July 15th to Saturday, July 20th, Hope Center and Kendall GL6 Gymnasium. The Bahamas Historical Society and Museum cordially invites you to a free talk presented by Stephen Moss on the topic, The Saltwater Underground Railroad Experience. Monday, July 15th, Bahamas Historical Society and Museum, corner of Shirley Street and Elizabeth Avenue, 6:15 p.m. That's your live weekend calendar. To have your event posted on the calendar, please don't hesitate to email kalbury@tclbahamas.com. Alive. Believe in best.
This is Eddie, and Eddie's a change counter. This is Sean. Sean doesn't have to count change because when Sean purchases a plan with Alive, it's VAT inclusive. Keep things simple, just like Alive's all-new VAT-inclusive prepaid plans with more talk, more text, and even more data. So don't be an Eddie. Freedom simplified. Alive. Believe in best.
Since 1967, Focal has been a vital part of the Grand Bahama community, providing high-quality products and great customer service. Today, we continue to work hard and remain focused on fueling growth for people throughout the Bahamas.
WTO memberships will bring benefits to the Bahamas. These benefits include increased economic growth and development, increased opportunities for Bahamian exports, higher employment, better income for Bahamian workers, lower cost of living for Bahamian consumers, increased choices for Bahamian consumers, modernization in government services, and better relations with trade partners. These benefits, combined with progressive planning and execution by our private and public sectors, will produce a better life for Bahamians.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Of course, this week the nation turns 46 years old, and of course the Central Bank of the Bahamas hard on its heels at 45 years. The bank recently honored all of their former governors, a distinguished list of Bahamians, for their invaluable contribution. Here's our Suzette Parker with that story.
The Central Bank of the Bahamas is celebrating its 45th anniversary this year. And as a part of its anniversary celebrations, the bank held a recognition ceremony and bust unveiling at its art gallery last week. The theme for the evening was Past, Present, Future, and all former central bank governors were present, including the widow of the first governor, T.B. Donaldson, to view busts and portraits made in their honor, as well as view the design of the new central bank building. After presentations, toasts, and the cake cutting, the governors were given a tour of the exhibition.
We thought it was a good opportune time to bestow such an honor. Since we just 2 years ago recognized Governor Donaldson, we had the opportunity to continue to do the same thing for them using the same sculptors, so we seized upon the opportunity.
The governors were very appreciative and humbled by the honor.
When you do bronze statues, it has a feeling of being immortalized. And I don't think I've reached that pinnacle in my life, that bronze. But having said that and having seen it, I'm very pleased about it. And at least it's something that future generations will be able to say, oh, I know the ugly guy. He used to be at the bank.
It's fantastic that the central bank has arranged this, and it's certainly good to see all of the governors here today, celebrating the 45th anniversary of the central bank. The central bank has always been a very special institution, and all of us have, collectively played a role in bringing the central bank to where it's at today. And I'm certain that with under Governor Roll's helmmanship, this institution will just grow even more.
It's a really special honor. It's a privilege. Look, I always felt that having the opportunity to perform the responsibilities which I did and which my fellow governors did was a special privilege which our country gave to us. And of course that imposes, I would say, on one the feeling that you really have to give it everything, and you have a special responsibility to the country and to our co-citizens to do them proud.
Well, it's humbling really, because I had no idea back in 1984 that this could become this thing. It really is amazing, and it is. It's going to go a lot further, I think. So I'm honored to have been lucky enough to have begun it.
I am grateful to the governor for continuing to celebrate him and honor him, and it's a gift that I can carry on his name, and the bank has been able to just honor him and celebrate him.
They had high praise for the institution and their time there.
I really have to say it's been one of maybe the highest point in my life. I have wonderful memories of the central bank. I have to tell you, there were times it was challenging. It's not an easy job. But when you can look back and reflect on it and see more the positive things by far than the difficult things, it really is a very good feeling.
I think when you look back at my experience, I've been a career central banker. Unlike some of the others, this is the only job that I've had since coming out of school, so it's been very impactful for me. Yeah, and it was a wonderful experience, a wonderful growth experience for me.
I remember everything about this place when I was there, and that was 20-something years ago. Time flies, so it means we must make the best of every moment. So back then, when I was governor, and same thing with Tim Dawson, we were at the beginning of at the threshold. We knew it was. We didn't even know what the money supply of the Bahamas was back in the beginning. We had to develop that. We did the initial work to find out what the money supply of the Bahamas was. So it was then the creation, as Dean Atchison would say, we were present at the creation. And it was great to be there. Very challenging, but great to be there. To see where it is now, it's truly humbling to see what it has become.
When I came here, I came from the private banking sector. And I was amazed after maybe about 3 to 6 months at the attention to what I called then getting it right that you found here at the central bank. There was a kind of absolute, not fascination, and I'm trying to find the word, but a total commitment to getting things right. I'll never forget that. And in fact, after a short time, I even found myself, adjusting to that mentality, that philosophy of work. the philosophy of excellence. And I believe the bank still very much exemplifies that today.
Although the bank was reflecting on its past 45 years, it is also keenly focused on its future.
The way we work at the central bank is a lot of times we have to live in the moment and respond to whatever challenges we encounter in the moment. And so a part of the way we think about the future is always being prepared to react to whatever is thrown at the country, whether it happens inside or out. So if you look through the past, we've had at least 2 governors who've been at the central bank when the Bahamas has had to undergo certain changes in the financial sector to respond to a lot of the international pressures that the Governor Francis lived through some of that. I'm addressing some of that now. Governor Allen didn't encounter it while he was in the bank, but he dealt with it as Minister of Finance, and so that relationship with the bank was there. So from that point of view, there's always been that element of the job of the central bankers and the Ministry of Finance experts where we're having to address challenges and find solutions on our feet. But the other side of it is that we want to always make sure that our institutions evolve to provide like proactively the guidance in terms of the kinds of reforms that are needed for the country. So exchange control is an example where at a minimum the way we administer exchange controls have to reflect the realities of operating in a modern economy where technology makes it possible to do things that were manual in the past, and also as people become more sophisticated, you have to appreciate that you have to find less direct and hands-on ways to try and manage our spending pattern and behavior. So some of the changes that we look forward to in the future are not to say that you're eliminating some of the controls on capital flows in your country, but you're focusing on more efficient, less intrusive means of addressing those issues. And so I would expect that when we see our system evolve, the central bank will appear less visibly to the average citizen, so in terms of how we manage the exchange control process. But you will know from the way we communicate that we are monitoring these and that we have the means to at least keep things within manageable limits.
45th, it's a milestone in the institutional growth, and I'm sure there's lots more to come in terms of the role that this institution will play in the Bahamian economy.
For Bahamas at Sunrise, this is Suzette Parker.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Bahamas at Sunrise. Cyan, a pleasure having you back on island and back on the show.
It's been good. It's been good to be back on the rock. Back here on the rock.
Yeah.
So I have one question for you.
Uh-oh.
One very, very serious question for you.
Uh-oh.
Did you miss Anastasia?
Today?
Yes.
Listen, I miss Anastasia every day. Luckily,
See,
Carlos
this
came
is the same thing.
But I am so happy
You were
to.
stuck with me for a little while.
I am so happy that you're here. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yes.
I thought they were going to have to call her, get a plane, pick her up, and tell her to come back.
Doing her thing. But hey, listen, we had a great time this morning.
Yes.
We can do it again on Monday.
Yes, we will.
All right, listen.
We will.
You guys have a wonderful weekend. Continue to celebrate, man. Best country in the world.
Yes.
All right. Bye.